Hi guys, welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 7, Numbers Between Rational Numbers. Okay, so there's a lot of good information in your lesson, but I figured the easiest thing for me to do with you is just to go straight into examples. Okay, so, that's what I'm going to do today. These are taken from your practice problems and your quick check, so make sure to take a look, take notes. Alright, pause the video now if you need to go get those things. Number 1, which of the following is an irrational number between 5 and 7? Okay, so I think one of the best things for us to do, and it would be really good for you to just have this in your notebook. If you remember from one of the previous videos, we made a list of perfect squares, right? So perfect squares, right, we've got square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4. I'm trying to get all the way up to here so that I can see where I'm at, okay? Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of, 36 is 6. Okay, so there's a couple things we want to think about. One, we're looking for numbers between 5 and 7. Okay, so we're going to solve them, right? Well, here's 5 and 7, or I can write the 7 for the square root of 49 is 7. So we're looking for numbers in between these two. But there's another detail that we need to think about. First off, so here's the square root of 4, here's the square root of 9. The square root of 6 is going to be somewhere in between there, but it's not between 5 and 7, so this can't be our answer. The square root of 12, well, that's going to be somewhere in between here, right? In between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16. Well, that's between 3 and 4, still not between 5 and 7. So that one can't be. Okay, square root of 27, well, that's right in between there, right? Because it's higher than 25, lower than 36. And that's between 5 and 6, which is also between 5 and 7. So this one could be a good answer. But let's check the last one too. Square root of 36, that one's right there, right? That one's a perfect square, okay? And it does fall between 5 and 7, but the thing about this one is that it's a perfect square, which means it is not irrational. And that's what we're looking for, is an irrational number between 5 and 7. So the square root of 27 is the only one that fits that rule. Okay? Okay. Number 2, how many irrational numbers are there between 11 and 17? And if I remember correctly, this was from your quick check. Okay, sorry, I was trying to check real quick. How many irrational numbers are there between the square root of 11 and the square root of 17? In some ways, this is kind of a trick question, okay, because there's an infinite number. There's an infinite number between any other two numbers, okay? Because you can go on to as many place values as you possibly can, and so on, which also means there's that many irrational numbers too, okay? So our answer would be an infinite amount, okay? Meaning it just goes on forever and ever and ever. You can't put an actual number on that. Okay? And our final one for today, number 3. What is the least integer whose square root is an irrational number between 5 and 7? Oof. Right? So this one, it's very similar to number 1, but it kind of used different language. It used funky language, which is one reason why I chose it. Alright? So let's think again. I'm going to make that same list that I already did of the perfect squares. So we've got the square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6, square root of 49 is 7. We'll do one more just for good measure. Square root of 64 is 8. Alright, so let's read it again. It's always a good idea to reread questions. What is the least integer whose square root is an irrational number? Irrational number, that's square root between 5 and 7. Okay? So, let's start with one thing that we know. Alright? Let's look at D. I'm going to start there today with this one because, look at that, it's a perfect square, which means it's rational. The square root of 25 is equal to 5, which is a rational number. So it's not an irrational number, so I know that D cannot be my answer. Well, if I were to take the square root, we'll just work backwards. The square root of 6, right? Well, square root of 6 is right here, right in between the square root of 4, square root of 9, right? And it is an irrational number, but we're looking for one that falls in between 5 and 7. So it doesn't fall between 5 and 7, so therefore that one doesn't work. Square root of 13. Okay, well, that's right here in between square root of 9, square root of 16, right? Square root of 13 would be sandwiched right there. That's not between 5 and 7. That would be somewhere between 3 and 4. Okay, so that one doesn't work either. Which leaves us with 26. 26 is not a perfect square. We can take the square root of it. That's going to fall right in between here, right? Very close to the square root of 25. Okay, but not perfect. And it does fall between 5 and 7. Okay, so that would be our final answer. Alright, I know we did two problems very similar to each other, but the wording on them is so funky, I thought it was important for us to hit both. Alright, have an awesome day, and I'll see you in live lesson.